Today's episode is sponsored by Loadless Laundry. Doing laundry stinks. With Loadless, you can text to get your laundry picked up, washed, folded, and returned. You can do random pickups or get on a reoccurring schedule. Loadless operates on affordable monthly subscription. You can get $10 off your first wash by entering code ADULTBABY, ADULTBABY, when you subscribe. Check them out at GoLoadless.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, voted Long Island's best podcast by a bot farm in Russia. It's the Adult Baby Show.
I'm a sweet boy.
I'll let a girl suck any part of me. I mean, honestly.
It's just in my mouth, just.
Oh, like, I'll try anything once.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Except getting to work on time.
You just ruined my day. Fuck your day.
Oh, let's get the feet involved.
It's not a nut. Maybe I shouldn't say that out loud with you.
Some people
Yeah.
are absolutely
Huh?
disgusted by me.
He ain't lying.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Adult Babies Podcast, episode 325. I am B.
Chick.
I'm Ryan.
I'll tell you guys, if you're not watching the video portion of this show, you're missing out. All right?
Yeah.
Right.
I actually just recently started doing some research because you can put video on Apple Podcast app and I think on Spotify as well.
I noticed that.
So I would like to learn how to, because I understand people are just used to going to their podcast app and they might not want to watch the whole thing, but if something happens that's visual, you can just maybe pull out your phone and be like, oh, let me rewatch this 15 seconds that I want to watch, and then.
Would we have to redo our whole, you know how we load everything up through SoundCloud?
Yeah, I don't know. I just started looking into how to do it.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't want to have to reset the whole Apple podcast thing and start from scratch because then you got people to resubscribe and that
Yeah, we don't want
That
to do
would
that.
we don't
bother
want to
me.
lose that
Can I tell you how much our Apple page bothers me?
because we don't have access to it.
Because we don't have any access to it.
Yeah.
We need to figure out how to get access to it.
Yeah, well, that's
Now,
Taylor.
why
right?
does it bother you?
Because it's a picture of me, you, and Taylor.
I think it might even be you and Chris, isn't it?
No, Chris isn't even on that because since Taylor's been off the show, we
Are
haven't
you
been able to
talking
get
about
on that.
if I go to my Purple Podcast app?
Yeah, we used to call that. Do you remember? You listen back. We used to call it the
Yeah.
Purple Podcast app.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I mean, yeah, it's just totally different. I think.
Oh, yeah. It's T. Briz in there with his guitar.
With his guitar.
Jesus.
Yeah.
So,
Well, anyway, that's maybe down the pike somewhere.
Yeah, one of these days.
I'm determined to fix that one day or another.
We have tried, right?
We've reached out to Taylor,
But so it's still in
and Taylor was kind of like, "I'll look into it," but we didn't press him, and
Okay.
I'm sure that went by the
Yeah.
wayside.
all right.
He made the effort to sit down and make us new intros, but he couldn't do that.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Did you guys ever? I like our intro, but would you ever reconsider the whole new intro?
We talked about this a
We
little
did.
while back, and I made couple of little things that were more hip hoppy, but I think that the sound of it really
It's
fits.
perfect. I
the-
agree.
I find it to be perfect, and I don't
Yeah.
like change. But I'm
Yeah, I think I entertained. I made a new thing. I had that JFK vocal
Oh
intro.
yeah.
And I was
yeah.
like, none of this is better than.
Yeah,
it's
no,
kind of
it's
like
true.
cheesy, but I think it kind of works. So.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I always liked it. But yeah, so how's everybody's weeks been? I feel
Good.
like we just recorded.
Well, we recorded the end of last week
Yeah, so
and the
it's-
beginning of
it
this
hasn't
week.
been
We did.
much.
It
But
was
you
just a
guys each had a
weekend.
few shows.
yeah. It was. I want to hear, but you were at the.
Yeah, I just went to a show. I went to
Oh.
the Hamburger Club.
How come you didn't sign up? I thought you were going to sign up.
I didn't really know what it is.
Okay.
And I was scared to sign up for something I didn't know what I was. And
That's
I think
not like you. I feel like you're somebody that signs up for things without knowing
I
what
wanted
it
to
is.
see what it was first. That's like the first time before I did an open mic. I went to see the open mic I
Right,
was going to
right,
sign up
right.
for. I'm like, let me get an idea of what happens here, and then maybe I'll do it. And then
Did
I
you
did.
did you look at it thinking like, oh wow, they're all terrible, I could do this? Or did
The
you
open mic?
Yeah. Or was it like
No,
this-
it was. I mean, I think I was when you're not. I wasn't in comedy yet, so I think you're impressed. Like you're more easily impressed. The deeper you get into comedy, the more jaded you are, and you think, "Oh, that's right. These guys will suck." I was impressed because there was a guy on stage telling jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I remember I went with a few people, and I went saying, "Yeah, I want to do this open mic, but would you come check it out with me first?" It was at a comedy club. This was like when Long Island used to have open mics at comedy clubs, and I remember there's a guy, Billy Bingo, that ran it. And after the show, I went up to him, and the people I was with, like, holy shit, he's actually talking. Like, he's going to actually do this. So I said, yeah, I want to sign up for next week. Yeah, come down and go bring people. You didn't have to bring people, but they encouraged it.
Wow.
And I ended up bringing like 14 people.
So your first open mic, you had 14 people.
Yeah, in a comedy club.
That sounds like a nightmare,
No.
but I'm sure
I've
you did
always
well.
done better with people in the audience that I know.
Really?
Well, I feel like you're gonna get laughs, so I kind of see that. But so when I was practicing last year or 2 years ago, whenever we did the show, I would never tell somebody to come to an open mic. To me, an open mic was like practice completely.
Yeah.
Like I didn't want anybody to see that
Yeah.
until I was ready to do a show.
Yeah. I was
That's
excited
me.
to have people come, and even still, like, my favorite was when I was at the club and I'd be sitting by the bar and somebody I would know from like high school or from like my past would walk in and they were in the audience. Those are always my best shows because I was always like, I just had a blank, like, I absolutely cannot fuck this up.
Right.
So I would just stay in the head of like, I'm good. I need to be good. This is going to go well. This is going to be one of those nights that goes well because I need to impress this person that I haven't seen in 15 years and
Yeah.
don't really care about. But I don't need them walking in and being like, oh, he thinks he's a comedian. He's doing comedy. Like, and I would just kind of talk myself into.
Yeah.
It's so much about doing well in comedy is going up with confidence and not second guess yourself and selling it. And then if I felt like I need to sell this, then I would sell it.
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah.
I used to love to perform in front of my friends and family. Now I don't love it.
Right.
Like I don't hate it.
Interesting, yeah, right.
But like early on, I felt like I really needed their support.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, what are you doing? I'm here.
Yeah,
I could.
Yeah.
I'm better. I feel like I'm better with like
Yeah.
my best shows that I've ever had are when nobody I know is there.
Maybe it's because you've grown
And-
past. You think your comedy. I don't know. Maybe I'm just guessing here because I think maybe I dealt with this a little bit too. Is we think that your comedy is maybe a little bit more advanced than the comedy that they like. Like you don't.
Nah,
care,
not
you don't
even-
necessarily
no,
care
no.
if they
That's
like
a
it or
you
not.
thing. That's definitely.
I think that's definitely a you thing. When you
Yeah.
said the word advanced, I was gonna say, I thought you were gonna say like different than what they like. And
Maybe
you said
yeah,
more
maybe difference, but like
advanced.
more like when you perform for a city audience a lot, you can do different things. You can be more,
Yeah.
you can have more fun with things, and you can do things that are a little bit more weird or not. And like, but a Long Island family and friends, they want to see like dick jokes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you can kind of have a little more fun in the city and be a real person. And if you're sensitive at one point, they're like, well, "This guy's a pussy." You know what I mean? Long Island audiences, I had to battle like that they called me a pussy because I said something sensitive on stage. It's like it's not a welcoming environment.
Not
in a Long
welcoming
Island
environment.
comedy room.
I get that.
I was telling Chick I did a show on Friday night in Island Park. It was in a billiards hall, and the show was it was packed. They packed it up pretty nicely, and my set was going great. And I heard Dave Attell talk about this recently on some podcast where he goes, doing comedy. Sometimes you're like some shitty phone service where like these jokes are working and this one doesn't work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're pulling out some chords work and then this one works now, which I feel a lot recently where I'm like, I do my set and I'm like, even if it's going great, I'm like, one of these jokes is gonna fall flat. And I'm like riding like I'm on a good thing, and then I'm like, but I know somewhere along the line it's gonna fall flat, but I'll be able to recover it. So I had this experience on Friday where it was going well, and then I told a joke that usually works and just fell flat for whatever reason. And it was a lady directly in the front, and the way she was sitting the whole time was they were like the long tables like this where people are seated. They're sitting across from each other.
Yeah, cafeteria style.
Yeah, cafeteria style. So the lady and most people like turn they're so they can look at me.
Yeah.
The chair is turned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This lady
Or at least
just
the shoulders.
yeah. This lady just stared right at her husband the entire time. So the entire
I've seen it.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
And the husband's laughing. Like the husband seemed to really enjoy it. And so I saw her back and her ratty hair the whole time, right? So I get to this joke and it falls flat. It's just not doing well. And at the end, me, I can't not comment about it. I'm like, Jesus, that one we can all agree wasn't great, right? Not my best one. And she literally the only thing she said all night, she goes, worst one yet. Dude, I'm like, I'm like, you know when you're up there and you're like, did I hear that?
Yeah.
That she was like the worst ever, whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
I just heard her say worst one you ever did or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm
Which
like,
is not doesn't necessarily mean that she hasn't been enjoying all night. It just means that was the worst one. But there is an implication that they've all been bad.
right.
But
that
worst.
was the worst. That was worse.
Yeah.
And I was like, I didn't even realize she was paying attention.
Yeah.
Like she seemed comatose, but she spoke up for that.
Just to be mean.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And I was
Those
like,
people really like. There's more of those people I feel like exist in the world these days than the other who are like supportive.
dude, it
Did
was
you watch her for any of the rest of the show to see if she enjoyed anybody on the show?
well. Yeah, it was
Did
just
you talk
hard
to
to see
anybody
because I was
after?
in the back. It was hard to see her. I saw like her little head.
But did you talk to anybody after? Maybe did you say
No,
that woman
I
in
didn't
front?
stay the whole show, but she did walk by at some point, and I got like I saw the front of her face, and she looked hammered. So,
Oh, so that might be
it might have
something,
been
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But dude, it was one, and I looked at her. I'm like, did you just say it? Like I've never heard something like that. That's just a very bold thing of her to say. I forget what I said, but it was just such a weird thing to yell out.
Yeah.
With your back turned to me the entire thing. Like she didn't even turn around
Yeah.
to
That's
yell at
just so
me.
mean.
It's so bizarre, dude.
So my buddy was at the same show.
Yeah.
You said it was at the Barnum Ballroom.
Yeah. That's it.
So I get a text. Yo, saw Brandon Ryan at Barnum Ballroom last night. He's good comedian.
He's good.
Good comedian.
He's good comedian.
Russian friend of yours?
He's good comedian. Not
Their
great.
last name is Ukrainian.
okay.
Not great.
I was like, yeah, he's good. I'm like, he goes, yeah, I knew his routine from YouTube, but still good.
That's the other thing. Oh, I don't need my friends coming because like they know most of the act.
Yeah.
Right.
You're ready to film your special. You want it to be fresh for them.
Yeah. But like even if I throw something new in,
Yeah.
like they'll be like, oh yeah, I've seen this joke and that one in the middle that's
yeah.
new. It's like, I've seen it all.
Right.
So like that's why it's also more fun to play.
But you're still good.
Hey, I'm still good except for that one joke.
Except for
That
your
was the worst ever.
Yeah.
So wait, I want to go back. So you didn't go up on your show?
No, so it's like a game show. It's like a Jeopardy style game show. And you ever see this Hamburger Club?
I haven't seen it, but I know
You know-
what Jeopardy is.
Yeah, but then it's about jokes. So there's categories and then
Is it like a
$100,
joke
$200,
category?
$300. They're all joke categories. So one of them was Venn diagrams, and they gave you a Venn diagram with two things and then a thing in the middle, and your answer had to be what connects those two things. This is funny because one of them, Tim Thompson, was on the panel. So there's three hosts or three judges, and then there's three contestants, and then a bunch of rounds with different contestants.
So it's more of it's not a comedy thing. It's a game.
It's
show.
comedy.
It's a comedy game
you
show,
win
right?
points if your answer gets laughs, then you get points. That's all it's based on. It's not
okay.
supposed to be a real. It's not supposed to be a real answer. It's a
Okay,
joke
all
answer.
right, I got
And you only
you.
get bad points by getting laughs.
I was thinking this is really like Jeopardy. I'm like, wait,
No.
they're just doing a game.
So it was a Venn diagram, and it was one of the ones that came up was one circle portion was newborn baby, and then the other portion was grown man. And Tim Thompson buzzes and goes, "Adult babies is the middle." It goes, "The middle,
nice.
the middle of the adult babies is a podcast from Long Island." Nobody made a noise. Nobody acknowledged that exists. That's a thing.
hilarious.
Nobody in the crowd was, and I just went from the back. Thanks, Tim. But so that was like that would be the tying thing together. But
I
then-
gotcha.
So they said anything answers, but then they write an answer. They said that's funny, that you get points, but we also have accepted. And then they have like a pre-written joke title, and it was like, "Let me suck them titties" or something like that. Was what combines the two: newborn babies and adult men both
Yes.
say,
All right.
"Let me suck them titties."
I love those guys. They're doing a good job
Yeah.
over there. I gotta.
Yeah.
so
it's
is it all
fun.
comedians that do it? Like,
Anybody can sign
was
up,
just gonna
but
say,
most
anybody.
comedians do because then
Okay.
at the end of the round you perform like a minute of stand-up comedy.
Oh, okay, all right, gotcha.
So I don't know what you would do if you weren't a comedian.
no,
when you're
I
signing up.
get that part. All
But
right.
I'm glad I didn't sign up because it doesn't really fit. That's not really my skill set. Is writing jokes like that on the fly. I'm not like I don't write. I'm a little bit more like long-winded
Pre-planned or-
than that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all right.
I might do it just to see because I would probably would have been better than some of the people that did it. Like that.
Now,
Did you
do they-
enjoy
awful.
it? Like, was it fun as a?
And I don't
as
know
a-
that it's for me. I think it's fun. People who liked it, I would like recommend
Would I
people
like
go
it?
see it. You might like it, yeah.
All right.
I think you would
Yeah.
like it because
Yeah.
I've
It's fun and I enjoyed some of it. Yeah.
now that football's over, I'm gonna go to one. It's been every like
Let
on
me
these.
know when you go.
It's been on
Yeah.
these Sundays where I can't make a Sunday.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, you know those Jets.
Yeah. Your football season's been over for
Nah, but then it goes into like a championship Sunday. Like you know,
Yeah, it's fun to watch. Yeah.
I turned down a gig on Sunday.
He owes
'cause
me $90 from the season.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. I said I don't want him to pay me. I just want him to admit.
I'm
that
gonna
he was
pay you
wrong.
because
No, but I just said I don't want the money. I just want him to admit I was right and he was wrong.
But I already admitted that.
Exactly,
And
so
you still haven't.
That's
shut
part
up.
of winning a bet, is the bragging rights.
But
No,
it's been going on for 3
Yeah,
months
that's
now.
a big part
the
of it.
season's not over, so the bragging will
The
go on
season's
until
over.
the end over.
The Jets season's
no,
been over.
Super
since
Bowl's not over. It's
Thanksgiving.
So I saw Pat Dunn there.
Oh, okay.
And
Sort of friend of the podcast.
yeah.
Friends of 2/3 of the podcast.
And what's funny is that I've been thinking about writing him in his inbox just to be like, I hope you know that like I'm cool with you. Like I have like I really have been thinking about that just because
Can you do that just because I want to see how that goes?
yeah.
Not that I'm like trying to set you up.
No,
I'm just
I
curious to see what he
I
says.
think about it more, and I'm like, I hope I didn't fuck up like your friends with him.
No,
and
no,
I don't,
not at all.
I don't want him thinking that like I didn't feel like I needed to apologize because I didn't think I did anything wrong. But if he does feel like that, I would like to apologize to him for feeling like
You
know.
don't need to. I don't think you need to. But
Right, but I
I'm
think
curious.
I think he should come back on at some point. Like he's a part of the podcast. I wouldn't mind having him
Yeah, I
back
don't know.
on.
I'll be a judge. I'll be the judge of that, Pat.
Well, I don't want it to be because of me.
Yeah,
but-
don't worry. We'll leave it up to
But
us.
I have been thinking about that, and you drag your heels on stuff like that. But when I saw him, I was like, oh, maybe I should just apologize to him now. But we didn't really. He was like ordering a beer, and then he was over
Yeah.
by his fiance, and so I was like, I'm not gonna. And then now, but now I feel like if I do it, it's gonna be like, well, just because I saw him, but you know,
Don't overthink it.
yeah,
Yeah.
But I do feel bad that if he thinks but I'm like, but now he probably doesn't like me because he doesn't think I like, which is funny how that works in the world.
Yeah,
it's
no,
like
it's true.
if you find out somebody
Yeah.
doesn't like you, you immediately like if
Don't
you have
like
if you
them.
have no problems with somebody, all you hear is like they don't like you. Like, well then fuck them. I
them.
don't like them
Yeah,
either. It's like, but you had no problem with them until you found out they don't like you.
Yeah,
So
no, I
it's
agree
not
with
really
that.
justified because you're not basing it on how they really
They
are.
don't
You're
like me?
basing it
Well,
on
fuck them. I don't like them.
that. Yeah, that's all it is.
Yeah.
But I just assume he was like, well then fuck him. I don't like him either. Like if I mean,
Pat's a
it's
sensitive kid.
but
though.
it is justified because if he feels like I was a dick to him on the podcast, then he'd be like, "Well, I don't like him. Like, I don't think he likes me, but he was a dick to me, so fuck him. I don't like him."
Right.
So I get it. But I go. He had his dog with him,
Oh yes.
so I go over and
I
he's
haven't
sitting-
even met his dog yet.
He's sitting there with
Lemmy.
He's
Shout
sitting
out to
there-
Lemmy.
Yeah, he's sitting there with his fiance and the dog. And I go over, I rub the dog. I love the dog. I love dogs. So I'm petting him, and the dog's like, he's jumping on me a little bit, and he licked me a little bit. But then he started nipping at me, like a little bit.
Oh, you see,
Yeah.
Great judging character.
And Joe-
this dog.
Yeah.
it's in the blood.
And Joe Winchell.
Winchell.
Oh,
Joe
Winchell, yeah.
Yeah. He's like, oh, he doesn't like you for some reason. I'm like, yeah, because his father's been showing pictures of me. Being like, if you ever see this man, you bite him. You bite this man. Look at this man. Look at him. If you ever see him, you bite him. We hate this guy.
Meanwhile, do we know Pat's at his house with a dartboard and Ryan's
Yeah.
face on it, just fucking
Wouldn't
whipping
surprise me.
darts at him.
But it's like the pets really like pets and owners have a thing where it's like if you just picked up the energy, like, oh, I don't, my dad doesn't like this guy. Fuck him.
I feel like pets are picking up on some sense that
Yeah.
maybe there's some tension there.
Uh-huh.
They do pick up on
Yeah.
things, and maybe he did feel that there was a social
Yeah.
tension
Yeah.
between the
Yeah.
two of you, and then he was like, "All right,
Yeah.
team Pat."
We start nibbling at this guy.
Let me stop.
Like it wasn't ever like biting, but like nibbling. But I don't mind. Like I have my hand in his mouth a little
He
bit.
is a
I don't
puppy,
really
though.
mind that.
He's a big
stuff.
puppy if he's a puppy.
Yeah, but did he get him? I don't know.
He did like he tried to lick me a little bit.
Yeah,
You know.
A little bit.
But yeah, it's just like
Wow, look at
like,
that.
Yeah.
That's too funny.
Like
Pat
father,
trained
like
this guy.
son.
Well, that reminds me. So I have a friend.
We won't have Lenny on the podcast.
Well, I asked him, I said, "You want to come on the podcast?"
Oh, that's great.
I do think dogs take after their owners, like even personality wise. So now
Yeah, there's
I
like-
haven't even met this dog yet. That I'm going to tell a quick little story.
Uh-huh.
But a buddy of mine is very anxious of a person, and he's Z. I'm going to just give out the thing. Is my boy
He's an anxious person in general. Just
in general, just an anxious. We abuse him a lot.
what's the matter?
as a
Z?
friends.
Does he listen?
No.
Okay.
He may, but I can tell him, like, listen, we brought you up about it. Let's let him get a listen. But we abuse the shit out of him, and I'm the worst
It's
at
the
it.
only way we get listeners.
Yeah.
We have to talk about people and then ask them to listen. We talked about you. Could you please listen to the episode?
But we're a tough group of friends. We're very rough on each other, and we abuse him. So he's got like an insecurities, like anxious person, and it's because of us. We always blame us for why he is the way he is. But he just bought a dog over a couple years ago, and a few of my friends go there to watch a Jet game. And now apparently his dog, they say, is just a spitting image of him. Where if somebody gets up, they said the dog's super anxious, barking, jumping all over there, locking in a room. So yeah, I'm a firm believer that dogs
They
completely what the owner is.
they take after the owner. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're an anxious person, your dog's gonna be anxious.
Yeah. Let me had a beer. Just pounding back beers all night.
My one friend had a dog. We used to get fucked up every weekend with us. When we were younger, you're idiots. Everyone poured a little beer on it.
Somebody gave my dog Molly beer in her water
I thought
bottle.
You said gave your dog
Dog
Molly.
Molly. That's what he did. That's what he did.
No, it was
Sentence structure is so important.
my dog. Her name was Molly. She didn't get. She had a Bud Light, probably a Bud Ice, but she shit all over the place. It was terrible, terrible.
Well, dogs have weak stomachs if they get shit like that. But
Yeah, they're not supposed to drink
this
beer.
dog used to just drink and get fucked up. Like the people would just all the time. It was little. Forget what kind of dog. It's irrelevant, but it was a little dog too. It wasn't even like it was this big guy.
Yeah.
How's Bella? Bella a little lazy, a little late.
Because that's your dog.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's not my dog. It's my
Oh,
mother's
yeah.
more.
Oh,
so
so
you know
it's-
what I'm saying? It more takes after my mother.
Yeah, all right.
But my family, we are TV watchers. My dog
Fed
loves
up
to
with you?
relax.
When your parents go to Florida, what happens with Bella?
Depends. They usually take Bella with them. It's like I said, my mother doesn't want to be away from
They don't
the
want
dog
it to
for
get
that
lazy.
long.
They
But when
want
the
it to get
dog's
lazy.
stuck with me, yeah, we're in the bed. It's chilling a lot. It's
Yeah.
up late and it's it sleeps late.
because they really do live your lifestyle. You know?
My dog was so trained. So like, let's say I stay up till 4 or 5 in the morning and I'm in bed till just 12 the next day. She won't wake me up early. She won't push whenever I get up, she gets up.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
that's it.
I never understood people like I got to get up for my dog. Well, I'm like, why don't you train your dog to get up when you get up?
Yeah.
But
I think it's better to. It maybe
better
gives
to not
it,
be a lazy
it gives
asshole
people
with your
something to
dog.
do. You
Yeah,
know?
no,
It's like let me
listen.
get up and start my day.
yeah,
A lot of
no,
people
I
are
agree.
really embracing the wee pads in the house.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
That makes me sick.
And they're just like, yeah, they'll go in the wee. I'll just throw the
for
wee
for
pad
a
out.
puppy, I get it for accidents, but I mean,
You see it more and more. Even like out going scrolling through like social media, you see people's houses with just wee pads out, and it's just
the name too. Wee
You know
wee
what
pad.
bothers me about that though? Well, actually, let me rephrase that. What I do feel guilty about is that if it's raining or
Yeah.
it's freezing out,
Yeah.
my dog has to withstand the elements to use the bathroom. So on a really rainy day, she may not go that much.
Yeah, that's true.
I used to walk out and stand over my dog with an umbrella.
So I would do that
yeah.
sometimes, not always.
And then a hero came along.
I don't disagree because sometimes
You
it's like
gotta do it.
You're watching them from the inside, like, oh, you go out.
They refuse to go out. They
Sometimes
don't
it's
like to
beneficial
walk.
though, because sometimes my dog sometimes would take a long time to pee, like to be like out there circling. I'm like, just pee, like I'm going back to sleep. But if it's
I
raining,
love yelling at them to pee.
if it's raining, they don't waste time.
No,
they're
they
like,
don't.
let me get
Yeah,
this
yeah.
out, and I'm back in the house. So
Yep.
sometimes it works to your benefit.
I think that's the only reason where I understand that pad maybe during the winter a
Yeah.
little bit, but I feel like I don't know.
Problem
Let
is
them-
they would get used. You get used to it. They're like, oh, I don't have to go outside.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to. I guess it's tough. Like if you have to go outside to pee, but when it gets cold out, they give you a little wee wee pad. You'll be like, yeah, I'm doing it on the wee wee pad, or I'm doing it where the
but
wee wee pad was.
See, that's our issue. We have an overhang. So technically, my dog could just piss and shit on the cement outside and not the grass, but she goes to the grass because that's where she's trained.
Because
and
she's a
knows.
good girl.
She's a great girl. But I feel like in the winter, it's like, just do it there. Like, I kind of like, fuck it. We'll just spray it down or
Yeah,
whatever.
you let him.
But she
get away
doesn't.
with that
She's
stuff.
on the grass, so I feel bad.
That's good.
And she's so small when it snows. Like, we have to, she's so small, we literally have to shovel Like, so if it snows enough,
Yeah.
we'll shovel
do
like
that.
a 10 by 10 area for her to walk in and piss and shit in.
Yeah,
Because
she'll
if
get lost in there.
She every once in a while she want to venture off and she'll jump and then all of a sudden
Yeah.
that's it. She can barely move.
Yeah. That's why I used to make like a maze.
Yeah.
Make, like, a
Oh,
maze
I,
for me.
I wasn't that creative. It was just but the issues that us humans have.
Yeah.
I was waiting for a segue from one of you guys because mine
Yeah,
aren't
nothing.
good.
You don't have to do a segue.
All right, what else you got?
Did you listen to any telepathy tapes?
Not yet.
Not yet. He's never gonna.
I swear I'm gonna. I'm very interested.
You're not.
My
you
problem.
had a full
listen.
weekend to do it.
That doesn't mean just because I didn't do it 1 week, we just found out about
All
it.
right.
It's literally
I
been
don't
less
know-
than a week since I found out about it, and you're getting on me already.
All right. Well, we can get to it when you get to it. We'll get to it. There's something. So I was walking by an antique store the other day, and a woman came out in like a panic, and she goes, "Please!" She had like a broken English, and she was like, "Please, come in! There's an emergency!" So I'm like, "Oh, what am I walking into?" So I was actually going to go in the antique store anyway.
Working or not working?
No, I wasn't working. This was actually when we were upstate last week.
Oh, all right.
And so I walk in, and she brings me to the back of the store, and there's a woman just like laid on the ground, like on a little box, like a tiny little box off the ground, and she's like, there's a cane next to her, and she's on the ground laying there. So she's
Awake?
Yeah.
Oh,
she was
all right.
awake. Yeah, but I'm like, you don't know what you're walking into. Like,
Yeah,
somebody could have
yeah,
broken
yeah.
in and slaughtered somebody, and I'm like, what am I gonna do?
Yeah.
Like, okay, you want me to call
Now you're a
911?
part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I had to, she needed to be picked up. So I had to get behind her. I had to put my arms. She goes, "You have to pick me up, but you go under my arm, on my armpits." I say, "I know. I used to live with my grandmother. I know what I'm doing." So
So now you're bear hugging
Wait, the
this
lady on the box is telling you this?
yeah.
I want to know how she got down there.
She just fell. Yeah.
Oh,
she
all
just-
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's like, "I don't know. I fell." And meanwhile, it just snowed out. Before I left, like we started talking. I'm like, it's snowing. I'm like, people are falling out here, Mary. You're supposed to fall outside in the snow. I said,
Yeah.
How'd you make it to the snow? And then you fall inside here? But yeah, so I pick her up, and she's, "Oh my God, thank you so much. You're my hero, and you just saved the day. Like if anything, I could, I'm so thankful." So the way it works, like the antique store, they have all these, like they each have their own booth. So this fucking guy.
IMDb just went off.
Right. So she goes, she's like, "Anything in my booth is free. You're free."
Oh, she had a booth?
Yeah, it's like all like the way the antique store is, like they'll have their own booth. She goes, "Anything
Okay.
in my store is free." But so give me a second, like give me a beat because I'm gonna take a beat. Like let me act this out because I think it's funny. The timing is funny. She goes, "Oh, thank you so much. I'm so appreciated." She goes, "Anything in my booth is free. Gold 50%." She was like, "You know what? I got some valuable stuff in here. I can't be giving away the gold for free." She's like, "Gold 50%. I'll do that much for you." But it's like the amount of like appreciation. Like now she's on her pins and she feels good. She's like, "All right, well, I'm alive. I don't need to give away the farm. Yeah, I can keep a little bit of money
All he
myself."
did was pick me up.
Yeah.
50%.
Yeah. Anything in my booth is free. Gold 50%. Yeah. But
I just
feel
like how quick it changed.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. Yeah, I didn't. There's nothing she had that I wanted, so I would have been like taking advantage of her. But that line, you ever have something you go like, if I ever make a movie, I want that scene in the movie, like that bit of dialogue.
Yeah.
And you wonder how many people that make movies is just a collection of things that they saw that they just put together in a story. Because it's just sometimes little scenes, it's a scene that doesn't necessarily move the plot along, but it's just something. Like I would love to just plop that in a little scene, just a little comedy.
That's great.
Yeah.
I love perfect
What
little
is
sentences
the
like that.
nicest thing you guys have ever done? Like a random act of kindness. Can you remember anything? Does anything stick out?
Oh, random act of kindness.
B, you probably don't do anything for anybody.
No, I remember it. I told it on
You
this
take
podcast.
kidneys.
No. He's like a hack comedian. Like
Yeah.
you take kidneys. No, I told it on the podcast. I told it on the podcast years ago. The one time I did something nice for somebody and why I'd stay away from it. But I'll repeat it. It was a blizzard of '96, I want to say, and I was going through. There's a parking lot between a CVS and a McDonald's, and there was an older lady in the snow, and she had fallen and she was with another friend. And it was like a little pass there. And I was driving with my mom. I was a young kid. I was shy. And my mom said, go out and help those old ladies. I went out. And me and my mom both went out because the lady had fallen in the ice and the lady had shit her pants. And I was so like embarrassed for her, embarrassed for me. And like, I was like, I'm done like helping people out. I just feel weird about the whole thing.
He found out the woman is in even more need, and he was like, he pulled
done.
back.
Because then I started putting myself in her shoes, and I was like, she's probably embarrassed to have like this young boy like notice her. So it was just like a whole thing. It was terrible.
So you haven't done a good thing for anybody since?
Haven't done anything since. Haven't done anything.
See, like
since.
I wouldn't really describe what I did for this woman as like a random act of kindness.
That's why I'm curious. You could have another.
Yeah, because that's a
If I wouldn't have done that, I would have been an asshole. So it's like you can't.
That's
Only
a
thing I
call
will
to action.
say
Yeah.
is no, you wouldn't have. Let's say she asks, "Oh, you need help," and you say like, "I'm in a rush, I can't." You
the
don't
fact that
know
I
what's
went in
going
the
on
store,
there.
I mean, maybe, but
No. Once you went in, you have to. But I'm
yeah,
saying,
once you
if,
see her down there.
But
yeah.
also curiosity must take over a little bit. When somebody
Yeah.
jumps out of a store with an accent and saying, you must come in here.
yeah.
You're like, oh.
you know, they say if when people scream help, nobody will come. Like, did you
Yeah,
ever
well,
hear that?
Well, there's like a thing about that. What was that? There was a story in New York City where
Yeah,
nobody
the
came and helped
in
everybody.
Kew Gardens, right?
Was that it? Yeah. And
Yeah.
everybody thought somebody else would help or call 911, and
nobody did it?
Did. Yeah.
She lived like in the, if it's the same story we're talking about, she lived in the Kew Gardens, like right by the train station, and it's surrounded by like
That's
four
right. It was
buildings.
a bunch of buildings, and people
Yeah.
all heard it. Yeah, I actually did remember that story.
Yeah. But I feel like the help is like everybody is like, well, somebody else will get it. But you really have to find one person.
Yeah.
But I guess if you're alone,
You got to make eye contact. Like
you need
help!
you need to be like that this lady did. I need you. So, because if she ran out in the street and everybody's walking by and she's like, I need help, people are gonna be like, ah. But
Well,
And
specifically,
then you also assume, like, is this person crazy? What am I getting myself into?
No, it's
so it's
true.
like, I didn't. But,
it's like the
so-
other thing too. When you, oh, I'm sorry, go.
No, go.
you don't know what you're running into these days. You really don't. I'm afraid to help.
When you know when you
Yes.
hear like a loud
Like a
noise,
shit on.
and then like 10 days later the story comes out and it's a gunshot, and everyone's like, nobody heard the gunshot.
Yeah.
No,
Right.
I bet you a lot of people heard it, didn't know what it was,
Yeah.
and were just like, eh. Like how many times do you hear a pop and you're outside and you're like, no, like you hear it
yeah.
and then you don't think twice about it after. That's probably, I would imagine that's
What about you? What's the nicest thing you've done for somebody?
the
Random act
nicest
of
thing I
kindness.
probably did for somebody is somebody asking me for directions and not giving them directions, but like the place was hard. And I was like, you know what? I wasn't doing anything. I was like, follow me. And I literally drove them to the place.
Yeah.
A random couple.
What a lucky day for them.
Yeah. I don't know. I remember like when I was driving Uber, I was driving a woman to rehab, and she asked if we can go to 7-Eleven first. Like she didn't want to go first, so she was like, "Can you
Killing time.
Can you take?" So like I turned off Uber and I kind of just hung out with her for a while, and like I let her just hang out in my back seat, and we talked like a little bit, and she was like, I dropped off a number of people to rehab.
Really?
Yeah, during Uber, and I don't know. Like I spent some time just with somebody who was about to go into rehab,
Yeah.
and like was the last person they saw before going to rehab. And
God knows what happened, right?
yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
you
know. Like,
never
you don't
know.
know. He's just being like, "Good luck," you know.
Do you like ask about their addiction, or do you let them? tell
No, I mean I have people close to me that went through it, and
you? Do
They
you sort
want to
of
tell
like?
you they will.
what's
Yeah,
that?
like if they want to tell you, they'll tell you.
Yeah, right.
So, but do you get you like I feel like you'd be open enough. You're like a person I'd trust. Like if somebody was going through that.
Like no judgment. Everybody goes
Yeah.
through it. Like I'm addicted to eating, but there's no shame in it. Like that's illegal.
Oh, you're
You
addicted
have
to
do
a
that.
lot other stuff than just eating, my friend.
I also think about if you've done a good thing for somebody and not even realized it. Like,
Oh yeah.
I've done a lot of rides and helped people do random things like that. Like, I assume that most of them are small acts.
Yeah,
but,
as a
like,
driver, I've done a lot of driving. Like I'll drive
Yeah.
you, I'll take you.
I've
Driving
done
people home from the
plenty of
bar.
that.
Like I've driven countless people home from the bar.
That's what I'm saying.
Just because, like, just
Yeah.
for nothing. Yeah.
I drove a friend once who wouldn't let me take her car. Good friend of mine. She thought she drove a Mercedes Benz. It was like a whatever, but that was her car. That's how she
She
viewed
took
it.
care of it well.
So I had to drive her car back home, and instead of me taking the car home, like so I could drive home, I literally dropped the car off with her at her house, and then fucking walked back to get my car at the bar.
Wow.
So like
what a
I've done things like that, but I think for people I know, I guess I don't really consider them. You know, it's like do anything
Right. It's
for
just
the people
that's what you
know.
do for yeah.
Yeah, you know. But like with the strangers, like having them follow me, that's probably the thing that comes to mind the most.
Yeah. And sometimes it's something just as small as being nice to somebody when they're working and saying something nice to them.
Yeah.
That can change somebody's attitude. I always say like, and I'm not as good at this as I wish I was, but just being pleasant in public and smiling to somebody. If you ever get like a smile from a stranger and it changes your mood and now you're in a better mood, and it's like butterfly effect. That stuff. That stuff can literally change multiple people's day.
So one day I was calling customer service for, I don't know, it was like a phone bill or something like that. And the guy answered the phone and he's like, oh, it's whatever his name was, how's it going? I'm like, hey, how you doing? And the guy was like, sir, you were the first person today, and you're talking the end of the day, who asked me how I was doing. And I'm like, that's just, I'm on the phones all day. Like, that's what I do. So it's just common courtesy.
I actually used to deal with like a lot of people on their deathbed. So I had to. I feel like I did my.
Yeah, you
like
might not even realize what
No,
you've
I
done.
like I had a fair share of like people that I was very close to, and I just let them talk. But the other thing, this is where I'm a little screwed up, where I remember seventh grade, end of seventh grade, and it also falls under that feeling of, when you of that lady that finally got up and she was like, all right, 50% off.
Yeah.
Like the last days of school where you just start feeling great, like you're just in a great mood. Mm-hmm. So there was a kid in seventh grade that people used to pick on him. Me a little bit, but my group of friends would like harass this kid. And the last day of school, I went up to him mostly because I was so excited that school was over, and I was in such a good mood that I was like, "Hey, man, just so you know, like, don't listen to these guys." I gave him like a little pump up, like you're a good kid, like you're actually really cool, whatever it was. And I always had in the back of my mind that years later, this kid was gonna call up like one of these talk shows and be like, "You saved my summer." That's that's how screwed up I am. That I'm like even when I did something that was nice for the years, I was like, one day that's gonna come back and he's gonna be like,
You want to hear about it.
yeah, he's gonna like.
I changed his life.
Yeah. But he was like, but I remember in specifics, he was like I saw the relief in his eyes, like he was like, "Thank you." That's so like it was like I felt like nobody told him like you're a good dude or something like that, But also I had an ulterior motive. I wanted to get on like Oprah.
Yeah. It's funny because that could go bad where the guy's like, "You think I care about your approval?" But I think if you read people well, then you know it's going to be nice when they.
It's also it's nice to tell people.
We hung around some mean people.
Oh yeah,
listen. I've made fun of some people, but I like to think, and I've asked people I went to high school with, or like later, I was like, "Was I an asshole?" Like to certain people who you like, kind of, and like, I don't necessarily think I was mean so much as I was just like I would, ask them, but just make somebody who I know was a little shy.
Right. I think you were in the same boat, like where you had a group of people there, and it's like, all right, that's the weak one over there, and it's easy to pick on that person, and I feel bad about some of that stuff, because I was also that person,
and it's like this is no new ground, but it's all because at that age you're all trying to find your place, you're all trying to compensate for some shortcoming you think you have. You're picking on somebody because you think, Like I want to be superior to somebody because I feel inferior to these people. So it all stems from nobody wants to be mean.
I was gonna
in
say,
those situations.
like I've walked home with two of my best friends with them telling me to die slow on the whole ride home, and it was fun. Like I know it sounds awful, but
No,
like
it doesn't. But that's also your friends
Like,
fucking around and where it's funny. Is
like they were doing
Yeah.
I'll never forget it. The whole thing was they were doing the bump, bump, you know that whole thing.
Yeah.
And then at the end it was die slow, and there was like a whole walk home.
Yeah.
So like I got my share of fucking people making fun of me.
course.
But you don't realize like sometimes when you're friends of a group that are like that, and you all almost develop a little tougher skin, that sometimes you think
Right.
other people have that
That
tough
they could
skin,
deal with that stuff.
and people can't.
But if your friends are all making fun of each other, but you're still getting invited to the party because you're like
Oh,
they
yeah.
enjoy your company, and occasionally they make fun of you, and then you can make fun of this person. It's different than I don't have any. Nobody invites me to anything. Nobody. I'm the outcast, and people make fun of me all day. That's a different vibe.
Oh,
No,
it's a different
I know.
vibe.
I totally agree.
That's the other thing. What you were saying, like when you're also in that age range of like high school, when you're not being the person that's made fun of, you're just so happy that's not you. You're like,
yeah.
all right, good. It's not on me. Throw it on you. Throw it on you. You know, it's like, all right, good.
I have
pile
horror
on.
stories of people I know, and like I could say I'm guilty because I didn't stand up for the kid and stop it. But they would bring people out. They'd call them recruits, and they basically took kids who were not as popular, little nerdy, got made fun of, and then bring them out for the weekend. But really, just to get them fucked up. Like,
Yes.
you know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't because we wanted, oh, he's cool. Let's see if he can hang out. It was kind of like, let's bring this nerd out and get him all fucked up and see how it goes. Like, it's fucked
so-
up when you
That's
like
so messed up.
it is, but it's happened. And I remember one kid going, I've never stood up for anything in my life, but I'm standing up for this, and then proceeded to get rolled down a hill. Like, it's like, I laugh, but it's fucking awful.
Yeah.
What's that do for the greater good?
It's just a brutal time to be a person.
And I think about kids now, they can't even get away from it. Like, because now you like, at least then you could get out of school and not have to go online or
yeah.
Now it's
The worst he had was like the away message from AIM. You know.
Yeah, but that wasn't brought. Like, if I had a
Yeah, that's
message,
right.
if I had a conversation with you, it wasn't for anybody else to see.
That's true.
Now I could put up a post making fun of you that you may not even see yet, but everybody I know sees it. Like,
I couldn't imagine living in today's world with all. No way.
it's like, pros and cons.
Yeah,
Probably
I
way
guess
more
so.
cons than pros these days, though.
Yeah, but I'm.
So on the other side, do you guys ever have a moment of something that you didn't do that you feel guilty about that you should have done?
Well, yeah, a lot. I always, if I see somebody walking with groceries in the rain, I always want to stop and be like, "Can I drive you somewhere?" But it's often a woman, and I just feel like, does a woman want a man driving up and be like, "Can I give you a ride?"
That's a
maybe
weird-
I wouldn't
Because the
say it
nice
like that.
guy act turns into, look at this, you'll be the creep that asks
Yeah,
me for
but
a
I
ride.
was like, can you I can't imagine being like you're trying to walk home, so you're in a situation where you don't have a car to get your groceries. Now you're soaking wet, and you got bags with you. Stuff's gonna start dropping out. I'm always like, let me give you a ride home.
That was Bundy's move, I think, before he used to kill people.
Oh,
Back
really?
in the day, hitchhiking, though, was a lot more prevalent than it is now.
But
You
you don't
don't
think the
see people
hitchhike. It's one thing hitchhike because I know, okay, now you want to ride. Now you get a random guy who's like,
Oh,
you're,
yeah.
you're not asking for a ride, but hey, can I drive you home? So it sucks that we live in a world where you can't just go up to somebody. So, but there were times where I would drive. I'm like, I should have at least stopped and asked. I
That
should have at
happened.
least
I
asked
agree
and
with
and
you.
let them say no, because like. And then when they drop them off, like, hey, I'm happy you took the ride and you're home safe, but never do that again. Never get in
Well, that's
somebody's
the
car
thing.
again.
That's the other thing.
Like,
You
I'm
got
happy
in
you got
my
in my
car.
car.
You're lucky. You got
I'm
in
not
mine.
nuts, but never do this.
I would feel, even asking somebody, I would feel like now I'm just freaking this woman out for the. She's gonna say no.
End up driving like this.
And, like, but even if you just drive away, like now that woman in her head, she's like, all right, well, this guy noticed me. He's got his eyes on me. Like, it's a
If
terrible.
she says
world.
no while she's driving, she's like,
Yes.
he's still clocking me.
Yes, it's a terrible. It's
I'll
awful.
never forget in high school, I was at a gas station in right by the precinct in it's actually one of the precincts I got arrested and was in overnight. But you know the one on Wantaw Avenue, right in, I guess it's Bethpage. I don't know what precinct it is.
I don't know if that was
In
I
between
never, I
Hempstead
never got
Turnpike
arrested.
and
So
Pinata.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know the precinct.
But I'm saying there's a precinct on Wanto Avenue. It's a small precinct.
All right, get to the story.
Anyway, I'm at the 7-Eleven right around the block from that, and I'm not putting two and two together. Some random guys outside 7-Eleven. I'm going into my car, and he's like, "You think you can give me a ride to the train station, the Bethpage train station around the block?" And I'm like, "All right." Now, I'm also a young teenager. I don't give a fuck at this time. I'm a little reckless, and I feel, you're like, if anything, how fucking, whatever. The guy gets in my car. Meanwhile, the guy just got out of jail. Now I start bullshitting with him.
Oh, my God,
I'll
yeah.
never forget. I couldn't wait to get this fucking guy out of my car because now I'm going. The guy was in jail all night. He just got out, made it to this, moseyed his ass on over, and wound up in my car.
Jesus Christ. Yep.
So that's like, you're right. But, that was a guy who asked me for the ride. And I was like, all right.
I did the same thing. I don't know if he was in jail, but I was in Freeport driving a work truck, and a guy asked me for a ride, and I was like, where are you going? He's like 2-3 blocks this way, that, wherever it was. And I'm like, whatever, get in. I was young. And midway through, I'm like, what am I doing right now? What am I doing?
Yeah.
I'm in a work truck. Like, this, I can't, this is very illegal, and I could get killed.
Yeah.
I have a pocket knife, but I always think you're driving. If the guy does anything, what am I going to do? I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that
Sometimes I'll be driving my work truck and I'll be going to a stop, and I'll pass somebody who I know works at the place I'm going. And sometimes it's like a long ride. I'm like, they got a long way to walk. And I'll be like, should I pull over? But I don't think we're allowed to let people in our work truck, because if they get hurt getting in the truck,
That's
whatever,
what I
then
was
it's
going
an
to say. God
insurance
forbid
thing.
you get into an accident and there's a passenger
they're
who's
in
not
the-
even an employee.
Yeah,
you're
then I'm
fucked.
fucked. So it's like, I wish I could be like, hey, jump in. I'm going to where you're going.
It's one of those you could because
Yeah,
nothing's
but
going to
my-
happen, but
but
God
they-
forbid.
They definitely do. Like, I'm gonna say that's why I always thought about never let anybody in the truck,
Yeah,
even if
never.
it's somebody you know, because if God, it's the same thing.
Well, when you're a truck driver, everything that happens is your responsibility.
it's all on you.
So, what I hated that Red Bull did is even if you locked your truck, but either way, if anything that gets robbed out of your truck comes out of your paycheck.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
I agree with you.
Oh, that would
It's a $1
drive
million company. I'm sorry. If I get robbed,
Yeah.
I don't think I should have to cover. Whatever.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
agree with it.
Yeah.
But that's one thing that's why I said anything in your truck is your responsibility. I'm not letting
Yeah,
nobody
my
do
last
nothing.
company we used to collect cash from people, and sometimes we'd end of the day we'd have thousands of dollars of cash just in a truck, and we would have a safe in the truck so we could drop money in, and we didn't have a key to open it until we got back. Then we'd have to come and get the key and open the truck. But guys didn't like to do that,
Same
so
exact thing.
they would just put the cash somewhere
now
else
we had a
in
Ziploc
the
bag.
truck. You got a safe right here that you can't get to. But if guys would work in the city, and a couple guys got held up, and they were like, just give them the money, don't fight. It's no fight, just give over the money, and we'll cover the loss, whatever. But at the same time, what's to stop them from saying, yeah, I got robbed. I had $7,000 in the way, and I got robbed.
Most companies will do a little background into it,
Yeah,
a little bit, to make sure that you're not lying.
Right.
I don't know what that background would be though.
Video or something that where did you get
Yes.
robbed? I'm just saying, there's
Yeah,
some
right.
places there's some sort
Right.
of. You
Yeah.
listen, if it is in a random spot and you're smart enough,
Yeah.
but it's your word against.
But I would do the
theirs.
same thing. I would just be like, yeah, I wouldn't put the money in the safe. I would just be like, oh,
Well, that's what- when I-
That's
Red
the
Bull.
first thing. I was like, yeah, it's gonna go
Red
in my
Bull
pocket.
has the same exact thing. It's safe in the middle, but again, most people didn't use it because the pain. One, you're going into it nonstop because every stop you're collecting, it's
I
a
used to
pain.
hate collecting cash because I would hate the customer be like, you're okay giving me $4,000 knowing I got to carry this all day, like this. You're okay with knowing that I got to now carry the money
You wanna
around.
know why?
that I'm-
Because
You
in
had
their
a
mind,
lot of people
once
give you
get
cash?
it, yeah.
Not a lot. Towards the end, no. We would get a lot of checks, and that's
Yeah.
one thing.
'Cause I get
Checks
checks.
were fine.
Yeah.
It's still annoying at the end of the day. You have to count your checks. You have to fill out a little form. Now I don't do any. We do no money. It's like you pay online. We don't deal with it, which is
We have like
great.
maybe we have a couple. Everybody has a couple of people.
Yeah.
And even just picking up a check,
I
I'm
know
like,
it's so annoying. I just want to pay online.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, that's
You're gonna
what-
make me deal
Red
with
Bull,
it?
the big places, the big companies had some of them were just automatic billing.
Yeah,
Some
yeah.
you collected checks. Some was just a signature. But like, you got to think about a lot of gas stations that you're working. These people aren't writing checks. It's
Yeah.
cash.
Yeah,
They
cash.
take it
A lot of
right
these
out of the
delis,
register.
this was
Yeah,
cash business.
delis,
Yep.
pizza,
They're
like
not claiming this
Yeah,
stuff.
they're not buying enough. Where the thing is a few bucks.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not $30-$50 a year.
Yeah.
So they're all giving you cash, and it's fucking you get the cash. You're
If
right.
you had to launder money, what kind of business would you start?
I would
Ooh.
go to a casino.
You would start a casino?
I wouldn't start. I would launder my money through a casino.
Oh, you just like you make bets?
Well, you go in there with cash, and you there's a way to do it. I'm not sure.
No, but you need to the casino would have to be in on you laundering the money.
No, because what you're doing is taking cash to the casino. You go, let's say I want chips, right? Then when you go back you just cash your chips out. That money is legal money.
Yeah, but where did you buy the chips from initially? I guess there's no record of what you gambled.
If he wasn't so broke, I think he might have laundered money in his past. Seems like he knows.
I guess there's no record of how many chips you bought and how many chips you cashed in. So you could just say at the end, I cashed in this much chips.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm
So
pretty sure.
you can go in. Let's say you go in with one
You know what?
transaction.
That's a good question. Maybe it's not. I know that there's people who've robbed things and they go to casinos to clean the money. I don't know the ins and outs exactly of how to
But
do
if-
it.
So I guess you could go ahead.
That's not. I feel like that's like, all right, you robbed something. It's a.
Yeah, but you can't spend it. That's the whole same thing. You're washing the money.
no. But that I
talking
feel like
about
that's
you
a smaller amount. Like if you have,
Oh,
You have money
like,
coming in on a regular
Constantly?
basis,
Oh,
and you need to
probably like a
launder that money.
laundromat.
Just the most
Go
literal,
loadlist.com.
most literal thing. Where would you go to launder money? A laundromat.
Honestly,
that's good though.
probably.
Yeah,
Or like a pizzeria, strip club, something like that.
yeah. So I guess what was it? The car wash? Right, was Breaking Bad. That feels like a perfect one because there's
Oh, that's
no.
right. They did use a car wash.
car washes.
Because you don't need to keep track of anything. It's like
Yeah.
you just buy.
It needs to be a cash business or remotely cash business.
Yeah, a lot of cash. Yeah, but also what was big back in the day. I think there was one in our town was DVD rentals. That's perfect because you can just be like, yeah, all our DVDs they get rented
Gas
out every day.
stations.
Like, things come out like crazy.
Well, not
Like,
necessarily gas stations, but like a stationery store. So there was a guy who owned a store.
yeah.
I won't say where and what it was next to. It was right next to a bar.
I know it.
A lot of locals went to, and the
Been there.
store had memorabilia stuff. Like it was just a bullshit stationery store.
Yeah.
All the guy did was sell drugs out of it,
Yeah.
and no one was
that was
buying
a video
anything. But he
store, yeah.
probably could just say that, yeah, I sold this shirt, that thing, this
Yeah.
thing, that thing.
The video store in the town, it was called Big Buster's Video. It was like, he's like,
Big
oh, is that Blockbuster? Is that Blockbuster?
Big Buster.
It's called Big Buster's. But yeah, nobody
Blockbuster's
never did
brother.
any business,
Big.
but stayed in business for much longer than it should have
yeah.
been.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't really know how to launder money, but I just think the casino. I heard. I don't. Maybe that's just for if you have.
I guess
a
I'm
set
thinking
set
if
of
you
money.
go in, say you go in one and you go, 200,
No, I get what you're
Give me
saying.
$200 in token in coin in chips. You know, is that what they call it?
But usually they'll divvy it up between 20 people who go in there with $250.
And then you give all the coins to one guy, and you go like you assume everybody else lost their money, and then he's got all their chips, and then he can cash those chips in, right? And you assume that everyone else lost their money.
But the other thing is, if you win X amount of money from a casino, you have to pay taxes on it.
Right, so that's stupid.
Yeah.
It's not stupid. It's a way to clean it. Now you could.
Then
now
yeah,
that
it's
money's
legal.
clean.
Yeah, right.
But
No
you would
matter
have
what,
to-
when people are washing money, they have to either pay to wash it. It's usually not. There's some sort of. They're losing a little bit. In
Did I ever tell
washing
a
it.
story about when I unrelated, but before like an act of kindness, but was also like illegal? I helped the guy hide from the cops for the
That's an
day.
act of kindness.
It is.
Yeah, so I used to work at a pizza joint. I was a pizza delivery guy, and he was one of the pizza makers. And he always had a hustle going, this guy. Like, yeah, one day I came, he's like, he goes, yo, Ryan. He used to call me Ryan DiCaprio because he's, he was like an older guy,
Yeah.
and I was better looking then. And he came up one day, he came, he's like, I found this credit card. Let's go out and let's go spend this card, whatever. So I said, I'm like, oh, I need gas. He goes, let's go put a tiger in my tank. He goes, yo, let's go get a tiger in your tank. He goes, that's the perfect way to use a credit card. Yeah, because you're using it at the machine. So it worked. He goes, it worked. So he was like, we went to Sports Authority. We're buying a bunch of bullshit. And it's like, this guy always had a scam going. His whole fortune was based on he was a baseball card collector, and it was like that was his 401k, was that this thing was going to pay off one day.
We know guys like that too.
And so I'm driving down. I'm not working one day. I'm just driving down Lake Avenue in St. James. He's walking with business down the other way, like in a hustle. And he's like, I honk, hey, Richie. And he was like, he pulls up, get in the car. He goes, drive. And I'm like, where am I driving? He goes, just keep driving.
You're an accessory. Let's go.
So apparently the owner of the pizza place, who was also a crooked dude, called him in advance. He was like, yeah, Richie, the cops here looking for you. He goes, don't show up. He was like on his way there. Like he was getting dropped off. So he just like split. He didn't come in. So so Richie's running down Lake Avenue, sees me, jumps. So I'm like, I'm like, where should I go? He goes, I don't know. Where were you going? I'm like,
This is your best act of kindness for the record.
Yeah. This is it.
I'm like, I was heading to the outlets, to do some shopping. He goes, let's go to the outlets. I'm like, well, I got to pick up my girlfriend
Why
first.
don't you still hang out with this guy? Seems like
I
a lot
literally
of fun.
would. He disappeared. After this day, he disappeared.
Oh, all right. He got arrested.
I gave him $200. He went to Florida. I drove him to his house to give his wife and kids a bunch of
You
stuff.
were really an accessory in this
Jesus.
one.
Yeah,
Jesus.
I gave him $200 to get out of
You
get out
gave
of
him
town.
$200 to disappear?
Yeah.
Get out of town, buddy.
He asked me. Oh no, I didn't take him to his wife. I took him. He asked me to drop something off at his wife, and
This is a movie.
I never saw the whole family again. I used to see his wife. I used to hang out with his kid. So we spent the day just hanging out in the Riverhead outlets. Or no, it was the Yaphank outlets at the time.
Oh, God, yeah.
I had to pick up my girlfriend. I was like, yeah, so we picked up my girlfriend. We all went, and we all were hanging out in the outlets. He's on the phone trying to make things happen, buying a ticket. I guess we were able to fly to Florida with $200 then. But so flew to Florida. So it turned out what he did was what they were looking for him. He took the patio pizza van. This is a pizza place. I don't know if I should be saying the names of the places, but he took it to Kmart when it was there. He went when he got a big screen TV back when big screen TVs were like a box that you had to put on a cart.
Yeah.
He went to the TV department, put it on a cart, wheeled it out the front door, waved to the people at the register. Thank you so much, I appreciate it. Didn't pay for it.
Smart as can be.
Put it in the van, drove off, and
Professional
took off.
thief.
And you think who's going to walk out and wave at people? Who's going to be so blatant to do that?
The less
You don't even.
The more obvious you make it, the less obvious it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
That guy really just.
yeah, it's like we must have paid somebody for it because
Because
just walks out.
again, it goes back to like the screaming help
Screaming-
factor.
yeah.
Nobody,
Somebody's gonna take care of
Everybody's
that,
like,
yeah.
it's not all right.
Yeah, he either
Somebody
paid for it
must
or
know.
somebody's going to look it up. So,
Oh,
but
no,
then
I already
eventually,
did this.
eventually they must check the stock, whatever. They caught him on camera. They put it. They knew where he worked because he put it in the van that said on the side of it the address of the
got
place.
his logo
So
on
they
the
showed up. They
side.
showed up at the place and they split. I don't know what had happened to him.
I think we know what happened.
I used to love that guy. He was literally one of the funniest people I've ever met in my life. That day we walk around the store. He'd walk into the store and he goes like, "How are you doing? Because you need any help?" And he goes, "No, I'm just." I'm just browsing. He goes, "I'm half browser on my mother's side." And I'm like, I don't even know what that meant, but at the time it was the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life. Like at 7-Eleven, they'd be like, they saw these little aliens, and like he would just walk up, he would grab when he go up to, he goes, "Take me to your leader." He'd go up to the people, like he was just like always doing an act, like he was always doing bits in real
Yeah,
life,
yeah.
like for nobody sometimes.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
I love
just-
people like
He
that.
was just a character, Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
If Richie, if you're out there, I'd love to see you again. He's probably in jail.
Do they get podcasts in jail?
A lot of good people in jail.
Yeah, the funniest people are in jail.
They are.
Yeah.
They are. Those people are funny. Oh my God.
I had when I worked at one place, my boss would just send me to do a lot of shady shit, but I don't think I ever had the privilege to help somebody get away from the cops.
That was the same
like
job.
that.
My other boss, one of my other bosses, used to send me to pick up his preparation H because he didn't want. He was embarrassed to go get it.
My boss used to send me with cash to Western Union, sending it in fake names and addresses all over the fucking place. Picking up drugs for them. I literally was like a fucking.
You're a drug mule.
I was like a mule when I was in. It was a great place though. A lot of fun.
Can I say? I think an act of kindness. I used to drive Uber a lot. No, I'd like to get back into it. I enjoyed it. Good extra
Seems
money.
like you enjoyed
I did. I enjoyed-
the stories.
I enjoyed the stories. I enjoyed when I got to do something, when I would get to drive somebody who was going somewhere they needed to be, and that was the only way for them to get there. You felt actually helpful, even though you're taking their money.
Yeah.
But
Did it for me. He did it
Hey,
for
listen,
me.
they all got to pay.
Yeah. There were days where I wished I could donate an Uber, a ride to somebody. I would pick up somebody. A lot of times it would happen when I would pick up somebody at a hospital or a nursing home who worked there, and it was like a nurse's aide, and then they just worked a long shift. They're tired.
Yeah.
They're in a situation where they can't afford a car and they got to get home, and that's costs a lot of money sometimes to get back and forth to work. And they're not making a ton of money to begin with. Or if you're a nurse's aide, you're not getting a ton of money. Now you just spent your first sometimes 2 hours of work just paying to get to and from work.
Well, I was just gonna say, some people have to take into consideration their commute when they go in for a salary. It's like, listen, I have to spend X amount of money a year to get here.
Right.
I need to make
This
compensate
much money
for that. Yeah.
Would you imagine your first 2 hours of work? You're like, okay, now I started making money.
Yeah.
You're 2 hours. You go, now this is my money. Up
crazy.
until then, this is how I got to work and how am I going to get home from work. I always wish that Uber gave an option to donate a ride per day.
That's a great
Every
idea.
day you should be able to donate. The driver should be able to say, there's no charge from Uber. There's no charge from me. This is a free ride. This is a way for you, like, and they don't know until after you drop off and there's an alert on their phone. Your ride has been donated by the driver,
That's a great idea.
Thank you for using Uber. And then that's
Well,
and
you should,
Uber.
or almost like every 10 rides you get a free one, or do they do shit like that?
No, but this is not the
No.
rider. This is the driver's
Oh.
choice, and the driver never needs to use it. If he decides I don't ever want to give somebody a free ride, but a driver can choose per day to be like, listen, that person looks seem like they're having rough times. I want to give them a free. I want that ride to be free for them. I'm doing all right. I do this for extra money. I'm in better shape than they are. Free ride for them.
The
And then they get-
percentage of Uber drivers that would do that.
But it should just
should
be there
be an
as an
option.
option. Why not have it there as an
Now,
option?
would
the
you-
problem is you're going to get people who will get in the car like, hey man, where they know this exists. You give away your free ride yet? Let me get that free ride. Let me get that free ride.
Yeah.
that would be the. That
Then
would
you
be
don't
an
get
issue.
like,
By
you
the
know
way,
what? 'Cause
that's
you
like-
asked,
No, I
you
already
don't
gave,
get
and you
it.
said I already gave it away. Sorry.
That's an automatic no from me. That's
Yeah.
the same way if I get an Uber and they're like, rate me 5 stars. Not gonna do
I've
it now.
never once
Sorry.
asked that for somebody.
But have you gotten? Well, you probably don't
You have
take
to be
Ubers often.
awful at your job in Uber
I only
to not
got.
get a
I've
5.
only got I think one non-5, and it's because I was decided to Uber New Year's Eve one night, and it was 2:00 in the morning, and the guy was drunk, and he asked me to drive him somewhere. He's like, "Oh, can you actually take me up the road here?" But I had already accepted another ride. I'm like, I actually have somebody else waiting for me. Like, I have to drop you off here because they're expecting me at this time. And he goes, "Well, you're not gonna can't just drive me. What's the big deal?" And then like we got in an argument, and then he rated me whatever he rated me, and it dropped my. But other than that, I think it's like
I
all
gave you
5
5 stars. Do you think I tipped
Appreciate
you
it.
that night?
I don't remember.
I think I
I'd like
must
to go
have.
back to see if I can find that.
I
Yeah.
must have tipped
I
you.
found out what day it was based on the podcast.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
It would be interesting because I would guarantee. I can't guarantee anything, but I would bet that I tipped you just because you were a
Comic.
comic.
Yeah.
I'm like, ah, it was
I
comic.
never expect a tip from a ride. I think a lot of people think that you should, and drivers expect a tip. But it happened to me so infrequently that I thought, oh, I guess that's just not part of it. Like when I get a tip, it would be like, oh, that was nice. I got a tip, but I never expected it from.
I
Ride.
don't
Uber
always
Eats.
tip.
I would. Oh, that's how you make money.
You
is
have
through
to
the tips.
Tip. You have to tip.
Yeah.
With rides, I feel like I tip most of the time, but also there's rides where I'm like, this guy. I don't like when they're on the phone the whole
Yeah,
time.
man.
Like
I would never do that.
when I feel like I'm just another.
I was always
don't know.
quiet.
You are another.
I wouldn't listen to music. I would have like one headphone in with if I went
music
to,
is
if I
thing?
went to listen to something, it's I got one headphone in and I can hear them with the other ear and I'm listening to something, a podcast or even music. And then if sometimes or light radio that like just soft or ask them what do they want to listen to. I always wanted to have just a
I
cord.
would be a music, ask them what they want to listen to.
I just want to used to have mount an iPad in my back seat and be like, you can play whatever you want from that iPad. Just
Some
like,
people
open up Apple Music. Play
Some
whatever you
people
want.
pick you up, and their music is blasting.
That's
like
madness. To
I
me.
remember my dad got into one, and the guy was blasting like rap, and it's like,
Read the room.
come on, what do you like? Don't what are you trying to
This
do?
is not just a favor you're doing for somebody. It's like if they want to ride, they'll get in my car. It's like they're paying you to do this.
Yeah.
Give them the treatment.
That's the problem with everybody running their own business and people who have no people skills. It's just an easy job. They don't have to answer to anybody. That's the problem.
Yeah,
Is
I
the
get
job-
it. It is, but also, like they should have a little common sense
No, but
to
these
be like,
people don't. They don't care.
That's I get it.
consideration. It's like
I get it,
You're
but-
living in a world where it's like, oh, I can't get a job. It's like, yeah, because you do shit like this.
Yeah.
Like you're a dirtbag. You're a
This
loser.
generation doesn't realize how, like, I mean, I hate being that guy who bashes a generation, but like these kids, these kids
It's
today.
not just kids today. They're acting like it's kids that do
No,
this.
it's not just kids.
No,
It's not.
but I still consider. I mean, I guess when I consider like 20s, I just mean like this.
It doesn't matter. You can be 50 years old. You get
Yeah.
people out there listening to music too loud.
dude, I'll tell
Yeah.
you this.
I just feel like they don't have any. Like when you go to a store, there's no courtesy anymore to
No
a
courtesy.
customer.
I did a show recently where it was an older audience, and one of the guys running the show was like play music as they walk in, right? The guy throws up the same thing, like loud, like today's
Yeah.
music.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is not what they want to hear. This is just bothering them.
Yeah.
And he's like, this is what I listen to. It's like,
Nobody
yeah,
else wants it.
but this isn't what they're gonna be like.
Yeah.
You're
What did
already
he say when you said that?
I didn't say anything. I just sat there and thought it in myself. But this is already putting that audience like feeling weird about tonight. It's like they already now feel like I made the wrong decision. Where when going into a comedy show, it's tough enough where like spaces are tight. It's like weird. You're like, what am I doing here? This is a Friday night. I'm out. And now they're blasting music that is not from your generation.
It's crazy.
You want the idea is to get people in a good mood. Like we're out. We spent our money.
I understand it.
You can play music you like, but like
No, I just understand that people don't give a fuck anymore.
well, because some people usually people like a wide variety of music,
Right.
I did a bit about this once about how when I'm picking up my mother, I was driving to pick up my mother, I was listening to the Gravediggers album, and I'm
I used to like that.
I'm like I like this album. I said, but I'm not letting my mother get in the car and listen to the Gravediggers.
Perfect example.
I'm going to put on a music that I also like, but that I think my mother might also like.
Right.
I like folk music, so it's like my mother would be. This is more palatable for my mother.
Yeah.
Why not? Why not change the music that I'm listening to?
I do this every time.
I'm not selling out by putting on music that I like. I still like this music, but it's music that is appropriate for all the people that are here.
Whenever I pick up my parents from the airport, I do it all the time. I listen to my music on the way there.
Yeah.
As soon as they get in, I have playlists that are
Some soul stuff. You like soul
I
stuff?
put Sam Cooke radio on.
Yeah.
There you
My
go.
parents love Sam Cooke.
Right.
Perfect.
And you like
I
it,
love
and they
Sam
like it.
Cooke.
So we can all
Boom.
agree here. Like this guy, you tell me this guy who likes rap music, you don't also like some R&B, some
Also-
soft R&B or something like
Also,
that? Put that music. Put
and
that on.
If you're gonna put it on, keep it on like a little, like little hint of
Yeah.
the music.
Yeah.
Hint, like they're getting blown out of their eardrums.
Yeah.
That's my parents actually like when I drive them to certain things with that because
Yeah, but if
I
it's
put-
music they like,
because I
you
know
do it
what they
right.
like and I like a lot of the old music too. So I can listen to a 2-hour car ride and keep my parents occupied with great music without putting on one rap song or something that I know is going to irritate them.
you are I'll give you this. You're an incredible DJ. Like you have driven me home from many a shows that I have.
We've had great trips home.
Great singing my lungs out trips home. Yeah, you're good at that. You're good at that.
Again, read the room.
Yeah.
That's it.
I like rap. I know most people, even my friends who grew up listening to rap, don't want to listen to rap all the time like I do.
Yeah.
Some of them will, and I'll listen when they're there. But
Yeah.
others, it's just switch to rock, soul, R&B.
Well, you're very
something.
good with that. You're very good with all that.
Easy peasy. All right, Chick's not going to be on camera for a while. I don't know why his camera stopped recording for a while, but
Oh.
Did you notice when?
nah, it was recording for a long time, and then I looked over and it wasn't recording.
I don't
So
know.
I don't know.
Need
We're
to see
at
that
that time anyway.
Yeah, I
I
was gonna
guess.
say. I
No, we're
think
done.
we're,
Yeah,
yeah.
just there will be a section where you're not. in
Well,
it.
if you made it this far,
There's gonna be a real. I'm letting my hair grow, so in a couple weeks I'm gonna reveal.
Oh,
just
I don't want to
wait.
see it. Then.
Don't
Yeah.
show it.
It's gonna. I want it to. It's. I was gonna look so ridiculous. It's
Are you
gonna be-
doing it as a joke?
Yeah.
Why?
I've never let my ever since the slightest hint of
We
the,
just
of
we
bald-
talked about this
ever since
recently.
the slightest hint of balding, I just shaved my head completely. In 18 years I haven't seen just how bad my balding is, so I've let it. It's going to be just serious
I
horseshoe.
would say from like 11th grade on, I was, fade,
Yeah.
and then when the Giants won in 07, I said I'm shaving the head.
Yeah.
Shave my head. Haven't looked back since 07.
07,
So
baby.
I haven't even tried to grow my hair in probably since 2000.
Yeah, even before that I was crew cut. So I always had short hair, so it was never like a shock to shave my head. But when it was like, oh, it's thinning here, all of it gone.
Yeah.
I think the thinning look is so much worse than a bald look.
Terrible look.
Yeah,
It's funny you say I just shaved my head today, but I went about 2.5, almost 3 weeks without shaving it.
Yeah.
And it was to that point where I look at myself in the mirror and like hairs are going different ways.
I'm
like,
embarrassed my hair when it grows in and I don't.
I
shave.
know.
me too. I'm like that's why I'm not. I'll never be seen without a hat on. This is gonna be just for like comedic reasons, like comedic. So
Like this is even. I don't like this. This is long.
Yeah.
This to me, when I get hair, it starts to age me because now I look like an old balding
yeah,
man.
a day and a half after I shave my head, it's obvious that I'm a bald man. So like, I got to stay on top of it.
I
but-
saw a picture of me from behind where like I saw the horseshoe.
Yeah.
Somebody, it was like in a post of at some place. I'm like, yeah, that's me. And total horseshoe. And like I had my my head is all like I have a thumb shaped head as it is, so it just looked terrible.
Yeah.
I'm like,
So
oh.
just in a couple weeks, I don't know how long I'm going to put up with it, but I will show it on the video. Just
Oh, good.
as
I'm
a-
looking forward to
I'm
that. That's
excited to it.
exciting.
But yeah, if you made it this far,
We appreciate you and we love you. And guys, it was fun spending time with you guys on
always
this beautiful Monday.
I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Enjoy your weeks.
Bye.